Everyone in the gym thought it would be the funniest thing they'd see all week, a black belt challenging the quiet cleaning lady to a mock fight. But 30 seconds later, the laughter died, and the entire gym stood frozen. We live in a world where appearances speak before people do. Before someone opens their mouth, before they show their character, before they reveal their talent, most of society has already drawn a conclusion about who they are. It happens in seconds. A uniform, a job description, a social status, or even a first impression becomes the entire truth in the minds of those who are quick to judge. But this misguided snap judgment is not only unfair, it blinds us to the extraordinary value, strength, and depth that often lie beneath the surface. Take the cleaning lady in the gym, for example. To most people, she was invisible. Her job was not glamorous, she did not command attention, and she did not walk around announcing her abilities. She blended into the background, quietly doing work that others overlook but rely on every day. And because of this, the black belt along with the spectators thought they understood her. They assumed she was fragile, unskilled, untrained, and not someone worth taking seriously in a sparring match. They assumed she didn't belong in their world of martial arts. But the truth is, they didn't know anything about her at all. This is the flaw in judging people by appearances. You only see a snapshot, not the full story. You only see the role they play in that moment, not the life they have lived. Every person carries a past full of experiences, victories, struggles, and training that the outside world may never see. People have hidden layers, talents from their youth, passions they paused due to responsibility, or skills they learned long before anyone in that gym ever stepped onto a mat. The cleaning lady could have been a former martial artist, a retired competitor, or someone who trained for years before life pushed her toward a different career. Maybe she had once coached students, fought challengers, or earned belts of her own. But none of that was visible to onlookers. They saw only a mop, a bucket, and a uniform, and from that, they assumed her worth. When you judge someone by their job, you reduce their entire identity to a single task. You strip away their humanity. You forget that the person sweeping the floor might have more discipline than the students learning kicks. The person delivering food might have more life wisdom than the CEO placing the order. The mechanic fixing your car might be a genius in another field. The street vendor might be supporting an entire family with courage and sacrifice you could never imagine. Appearances are the weakest measure of a person's value. In martial arts and in life, respect is supposed to be given freely. True martial philosophy teaches humility, understanding, and honor to all people. Yet arrogance often replaces these virtues when people believe their rank, uniform, or achievements make them superior. The black belt forgot the first lesson most martial artists learn: bow to every opponent, regardless of who they are. Respect is not about who has the highest belt or the biggest muscles. It's about acknowledging that every person has a story. And that is why what happened in the gym shocked everyone. When the cleaning lady moved into position with perfect technique, a stance that only comes from experience, the entire room realized how wrong they had been. In that moment, their assumptions crumbled. She was not who they thought she was. She never was. They had placed her inside a small box shaped by their prejudices, and she shattered it effortlessly the moment she revealed her true ability. This moment is a powerful reminder of a bitter truth. Judgment limits your vision, but respect expands it. When you judge people by appearance, you underestimate them. You close the door to learning from them. You miss the chance to be inspired by them. You rob yourself of the opportunity to see the greatness that quietly exists in ordinary places. Think of all the people who have worked quietly beside you: co-workers, service workers, neighbors, staff, assistants. How many of them possess talents you've never bothered to discover? How many carry stories of resilience that would inspire you if you took the time to know them? How many are capable of far more than what their job title reveals? Judging someone by their role is as absurd as assuming you know a book by glancing at its cover. Some of the most extraordinary stories are found behind the most ordinary appearances. What happened in that gym is a lesson for everyone. The world is full of people who are far more capable, skilled, and extraordinary than they appear. Every person deserves to be treated with dignity because every person carries something special. And you may never see that something unless you learn to look beyond the surface. Never judge a person by their appearance or job title, because greatness often hides where you least expect it. Strength is one of the most misunderstood qualities in human nature. People often imagine strength as something loud, obvious, muscular, or positioned in a place of authority. They believe strength announces itself through titles, ranks, power, or physical appearance. But real strength, the kind that truly matters, is rarely displayed in such predictable ways. Real strength often lives quietly, slipping unnoticed through hallways, hidden behind simple uniforms, humble jobs, or calm expressions. That is exactly what happened with the cleaning lady in the gym. Everyone saw her walk around with a mop and bucket. They saw her wiping down equipment, picking up trash, sweeping the corners. They saw the tasks, but they never saw the person. They never wondered about her background, her abilities, or her past. They never imagined strength could come wrapped in something so ordinary. But strength is not always where you expect it. It is often where you overlook it. Hidden strength exists everywhere in people who have lived through hardships, in individuals who have trained in silence, in those who have developed resilience not through applause but through survival. Sometimes the strongest people are not the ones lifting weights or wearing belts. They are the ones who carry burdens no one sees. Consider the cleaning lady again. Her strength didn't come from showing off. It came from years of discipline, practice, or life experience. Maybe she trained in martial arts long before anyone in that room even knew what a dojo was. Maybe she learned to fight as a form of survival, protection, or personal growth. Or maybe she simply carried a quiet confidence that came from mastering something the world had forgotten. The moment she stepped into a stance, the moment her posture shifted, the entire gym felt a strength they had not recognized before. This is the essence of hidden strength. It remains invisible until the exact moment it is needed, and when it appears, it changes everything. Hidden strength is in the single mother who works 2 jobs yet still finds time to teach her children kindness. It is in the elderly man who moves slowly but carries decades of wisdom, discipline, and endurance. It is in the shy student who does not speak much but has a mind sharper than anyone realizes. It is in the worker who spends long hours behind the scenes, doing the tasks others avoid, but doing them with dignity. Strength is not a uniform, it is a character trait. It is not a rank, it is a story. It is not a title, it is a truth embedded into a person's journey. People who carry hidden strength rarely boast about it. They do not feel the need to prove themselves every day. They do not measure their worth by the recognition they receive. Instead, their strength was shaped in silence through the challenges they conquered, the discipline they developed, and the humility they learned along the way. That is why the gym became silent when the cleaning lady revealed her ability. They were witnessing a kind of strength that did not seek attention. It simply existed. Every single person around you carries a form of strength you may never see unless you pay attention. Strength can be emotional, the ability to remain calm in chaos. It can be mental, the capacity to solve problems others find overwhelming. It can be moral, the courage to do what is right when it is not popular. Or it can be physical, like the hidden combat skills of a woman whose role in the gym made people assume she was untrained. In every workplace, every school, every home, every community, people walk around with unseen abilities. Some can paint masterpieces but never show their art. Some can lead but never step into leadership roles. Some can fight but choose peace. Some can teach but remain silent observers. Some carry pain but still offer kindness. Some have lived through storms so fierce that surviving alone has made them stronger than the world will ever know. The danger comes when we assume strength only exists in those who display it openly. We overlook the quiet warriors. We underestimate the calm observers. We ignore the people who choose humility over recognition. And in doing so, We deprive ourselves of learning from them, appreciating them, or understanding the value they bring. Hidden strength does not mean weakness. It simply means a person has chosen not to show their full power unless necessary. The cleaning lady was not powerful because she humbled a black belt. She was powerful because she represented all the unseen individuals whose strengths are ignored until the moment they are forced to reveal them. She was a symbol of a universal truth. Greatness can exist in the most ordinary appearances. The world becomes richer, wiser, and more compassionate when we learn to recognize that every person, regardless of job, status, or appearance, has a reservoir of strength that may surprise us. Hidden strength exists everywhere. We just have to learn how to see it. In every field, whether sports, education, business, or daily life, people are often praised for their skills. Society celebrates those who can kick the highest, run the fastest, earn the most, or outperform everyone around them. Skill becomes a badge, a trophy, a visible symbol of a person's capability. Yet there is a deeper, more powerful trait that rarely gets the spotlight but determines the true value of a person: humility. Humility is the quiet virtue that transforms skill into greatness. Without humility, skill becomes arrogance. Without humility, talent turns into entitlement. And without humility, even the strongest individual becomes blind to their weaknesses. That is exactly what happened with the black belt in the gym. He had skill, years of training, countless hours of practice, and the rank to prove it. But what he lacked in that moment was humility, and that missing piece became the reason he was humbled so quickly. Skill can be learned, trained, built, and sharpened. Humility, however, is chosen. It is a mindset. It is a discipline of the heart. It is the understanding that no matter how good you are, there is always someone who can teach you something. It is recognizing that every person deserves respect, even if you believe you are more experienced or accomplished. The black belt assumed he was superior simply because he wore a uniform that represented advanced training. He believed his title placed him above the cleaning lady, that his abilities gave him the right to turn her into a joke. Many people fall into this trap, believing their success makes them untouchable. But humility teaches the opposite. The higher you rise, the more grounded you must be. A humble person does not see themselves as above others. They see themselves as equal, constantly learning, constantly growing. And because of this, humility protects you from embarrassment, from overconfidence, and from underestimating people. It keeps your mind open and your ego controlled. Imagine if the black belt had approached the cleaning lady differently. If he had recognized that every person has a story, that skill can exist in unexpected places, he might have shown her respect instead of treating her like a joke. He might have asked her if she had ever trained. He might have invited her to share her experiences. He might have learned something valuable, but arrogance creates assumptions, while humility creates curiosity. Humility also builds character. A skilled person may be admired for their talent, but a humble person is respected for who they are. Humility makes a person approachable, teachable, and gracious. It makes them better teammates, better leaders, and better human beings. People follow skill for a moment, but they follow humility for a lifetime. In martial arts, humility is considered one of the highest principles. True masters bow not out of formality, but out of acknowledgement. Every opponent, every student, every stranger carries potential. You bow to honor the journey of another person, not their rank. And when you lose humility, you lose the foundation of martial arts itself. You forget why you started. You forget the discipline, the respect, and the mindset that makes martial arts more than just physical combat. The cleaning lady embodied humility long before she ever revealed her skill. She never bragged. She never interrupted classes to show what she could do. She never tried to prove herself to anyone. Her silence wasn't weakness. It was strength under control. It was the confidence of someone who didn't need attention to validate her ability. And that form of humility was more powerful than any belt color the black belt wore. When she revealed her ability, she did not do it to humiliate him. She did not taunt him. She did not boast afterward. Her movements alone taught the lesson. Her calm presence taught humility more effectively than any lecture could. Her example reminded everyone that true strength is not loud. It is steady, balanced, and respectful. Skill impresses people for a moment. Humility inspires them forever. Skill may win fights, but humility wins hearts. Skill may elevate you, but humility keeps you from falling. Skill can help you rise, but humility helps you rise with grace. Humility allows you to acknowledge your mistakes without shame. It helps you listen when others speak. It enables you to admire the strengths of others without feeling threatened. It gives you the peace of knowing you don't need to pretend, boast, or dominate. You can simply be yourself, learning from every person around you. A truly great person uses skill to improve themselves and humility to uplift others. They understand that being the best is less important than being the most respectful. They know that every interaction is an opportunity either to build others up or to push them down. Humility chooses the first option. The black belt had skill, but the cleaning lady had both skill and humility. And that combination made her far greater than anyone expected. Humility is the virtue that elevates skill into something meaningful, something admirable, something honorable. Skill may earn you achievements, but humility earns you respect that lasts far longer. Dignity is one of the fundamental truths of humanity. Every person, regardless of age, background, appearance, or occupation, deserves to be treated with respect. Yet in the rush of daily life, people often forget this simple truth. They place value on titles instead of character, uniforms instead of humanity, and status instead of the soul inside a person. They rank people based on what they do, not who they are, and that is where dignity is often lost. The story of the cleaning lady in the gym speaks powerfully to this point. She was doing her job, a necessary job, one that keeps the gym running, safe, and clean. But in the eyes of many, it was a low job, a role without prestige or admiration. People walked past her without greeting her. They stepped around her tools. They saw her presence as part of the background, not as a human being contributing something valuable. Dignity is lost the moment someone becomes invisible. The black belt's decision to challenge her to a mock fight wasn't just a joke, it was a dismissal of her humanity. It was not a gesture of respect or inclusion. It was an invitation rooted in mockery, amusement, and superiority. He treated her as entertainment, not as a person, and the gym members who watched and laughed did the same. This is how dignity is taken away, not always through harsh words, but through subtle disrespect, through the belief that someone is beneath you, through the failure to recognize their worth. But dignity is not determined by job titles, clothing, or status. It is a birthright. Every person deserves to be spoken to with respect, regardless of what uniform they wear. The cleaner deserves the same dignity as the coach. The janitor deserves the same dignity as the CEO. The cashier, the guard, the food delivery worker, the driver, they all deserve to be treated with humanity, because their work supports the world in ways people often forget. The cleaning lady had been treated as if she were insignificant, yet the moment she stepped into a martial stance, confident, balanced, prepared, the room's perception shattered. Suddenly, people remembered she was not just a role, not just a background figure, not just a worker with a mop. She was a human being with a story, a history, a skill set, and a dignity that should have been recognized long before that moment. The silence in the gym wasn't just shock. It was shame. People realized they had underestimated her worth. They had treated her with less dignity than they gave to the athletes around them. But when she revealed a hidden talent, they suddenly saw what they should have seen from the beginning. A person deserving of respect, not because she had skill, but because she existed. Dignity should never depend on ability. It should never depend on status. It should never depend on appearance. It should never depend on what someone can or cannot do. A person deserves dignity because they are human. What many people forget is that dignity is something you give freely, not something someone has to earn. The moment you withhold dignity from someone, you reveal your own lack of character, not theirs. Disrespecting someone because you think they are less important says nothing about their value, it only exposes your arrogance. When you treat someone with dignity, you acknowledge their humanity. You affirm their existence. You recognize that their life carries weight, purpose, and meaning. You understand that the world is built on the contributions of people at every level, in every role, and that removing even one of those roles would cause everything to collapse. Imagine a world where every job was respected the same way, not ranked by pride or salary, but appreciated for the service it provides. The cleaner keeps the gym functional. The receptionist greets and organizes. The instructor teaches techniques, and the students come to learn. Every piece fits together. Remove one, and the entire structure weakens. Dignity is also about empathy. It means acknowledging that you don't know someone's story. You don't know their sacrifices. You don't know their struggles, their hardships, or the journey that led them to this moment. The cleaning lady might have been a former martial arts champion who stepped away from the sport for personal reasons. She might have been someone who trained for years before circumstances forced her into a different line of work. She might have been supporting a family, surviving difficulties, or quietly living a life filled with resilience. But none of that should be necessary for dignity. A person should not need an impressive past or hidden talent to earn basic respect. Dignity is not conditional, it is not a privilege, it is a universal right. The black belt learned that lesson the hard way. His skill did not justify his disrespect. His rank did not give him the authority to belittle someone. And when the cleaning lady revealed her strength, it was not her ability that demanded dignity, it was the reminder that she had always deserved it. Every person you encounter carries a life as deep and meaningful as your own. Treat them as such. Recognize their worth. Honor their presence. And never let external labels decide how much respect you give someone. Every person deserves dignity not because of what they do, but because of who they are. In a world where people constantly seek attention, validation, and recognition, true mastery often goes unnoticed. That is because real mastery is silent. It does not cling to praise, and it does not shout for acknowledgement. Instead, it exists quietly, confidently, and fully within the person who has earned it. It does not need to prove itself, its presence is enough. The cleaning lady in the gym was a perfect example of this truth. Day after day, she went about her work without drawing attention. She did not talk about her skills, her past, or her training. She did not try to impress anyone or hint at what she was capable of. She carried herself like someone who understood life deeply, someone who no longer needed validation from the world. That silence was not emptiness, it was wisdom. She didn't tell anyone she had martial arts training. She didn't interrupt classes to demonstrate techniques. She didn't brag, boast, or show off, and that is what made her mastery even more powerful. The quiet expert often stands out more than the loud beginner, not because of noise, but because of presence. This is what people forget. Masters don't announce themselves, their actions do. Think about the black belt who challenged her. He was loud, confident, joking, and ready to show off. His attitude suggested he believed his rank made him superior. He assumed his skill made him undefeatable, and he wanted everyone to laugh along with him. That is a sign of someone who has skill, but not yet wisdom. Mastery is not about defeating others. It is about understanding yourself. The cleaning lady's calmness, even in the face of disrespect, showed a level of self-control that only true masters possess. She didn't react emotionally. She didn't get angry or embarrassed. She simply stepped into her stance with quiet confidence, not to prove anything, but because she respected the art she once learned. Her silence was louder than any boast. Real mastery doesn't need to be advertised because it is built on discipline, patience, and humility. Noise often masks insecurity, but silence reflects inner strength. When she moved, her technique spoke for her. Every step, every angle, Every shift in weight revealed years of practice. Her mastery didn't demand recognition, it commanded it naturally. People with real mastery don't intimidate others, they inspire them. They don't mock, they teach through example. They don't look for applause, they stay anchored in self-respect. The black belt, however, believed that mastery was something proven through dominance. But dominance and mastery are not the same thing. Dominance wants to be seen. Mastery doesn't care who is watching. Dominance is loud. Mastery is quiet. Dominance seeks victory. Mastery seeks understanding. This is why the room fell silent when she began to move. Everyone recognized instantly that they had misjudged her. Mastery has a way of revealing itself without words. It shows up in the precision of movements, in the calmness of expression, and in the absence of ego. It is felt, not announced. In life, some of the most skilled people are the quiet ones. The greatest leaders often speak gently. The smartest minds listen more than they talk. The strongest individuals rarely show off their strength. The people who have endured the most rarely broadcast their pain. Mastery is not loud because it doesn't need external validation. A master knows their worth without needing others to confirm it. People who are loud about their abilities often fear being overlooked. People who are silent about their abilities know their light cannot be hidden. True mastery shines through naturally in the way a person carries themselves, in the patience they show, in the calmness they maintain even under pressure. The cleaning lady's silence before the demonstration of her skills was not just humility, it was the signature of mastery. She didn't prepare a speech or make an announcement. She didn't puff her chest or challenge the black belt back. She simply showed him, through action, what real mastery looks like. Many people spend their lives chasing recognition, thinking that visibility equals value. But the truth is that real value does not come from being seen, it comes from being grounded in who you are. Masters invest more time into training than talking. They focus more on discipline than attention, and because of that, when they do reveal their ability, the impact is far deeper. The cleaning lady revealed this truth without saying a single word. Her silent skill carried more power than the black belt's loud confidence. Her calmness displayed more strength than his jokes. Her presence taught more than any lesson spoken out loud. Real mastery is silent because it is complete. It is whole. It does not chase validation, it radiates it. It does not need to prove, it simply exists. The moment she revealed her true capability, the gym understood. The person who speaks the least often knows the most. Real mastery does not whisper for attention, it creates silence when it appears. Life has a way of reminding us that no matter how skilled, powerful, or accomplished we believe we are, humility is always one moment away. It doesn't matter how long you've trained, how high you've climbed, or how much respect you've earned, life can humble anyone, at any time, in ways they never see coming. And often, that humbling moment arrives when confidence crosses the thin line into arrogance. The black belt in the gym learned this truth in the most unexpected way. He wasn't expecting a challenge. He wasn't preparing for competition. He simply made a joke, assuming it was harmless, assuming he was in full control, assuming he would come out looking superior. But life does not operate on assumptions. In an instant, a single moment of surprise, a single shift in perspective, can turn certainty into shock and pride into humility. That is the power of life's lessons, they arrive without warning. When the cleaning lady shifted into a martial stance, everything changed. The gym, that was filled with laughter, suddenly turned silent. The black belt, who thought he was about to entertain the crowd, was now facing someone whose presence demanded respect. That moment of realization, when confidence evaporates and reality takes over, is what humility feels like. It is fast, it is sharp, and it leaves a mark that lasts. Life humbles us because humility is essential for growth. If people went through life believing they were superior, untouchable, or perfect, they would never learn, never evolve, never deepen their understanding. Humbling moments break the illusion of superiority and replace it with perspective. They remind us that talent is never a guarantee, and skill is never absolute. There is always someone out there who knows more, who has lived more, or who can challenge us in ways we never expected. This is why arrogance is so dangerous. It blinds you to the possibilities around you. The black belt believed he was the most skilled person in the room. That assumption blinded him to the cleaning lady's abilities. He couldn't imagine she might be trained, experienced, or even better than him. Arrogance limits vision, but humility keeps your eyes open. Life's humbling moments often appear like surprises, but they are not accidents. They are lessons disguised as experiences. They remind us that every person we meet has the potential to teach us something. They remind us that skill without humility is incomplete. They remind us that respect should always come first. And they remind us that no matter how strong we are, life is always stronger. Sometimes life humbles people through unexpected success, when someone they underestimated rises above them. Sometimes through unexpected failure, when something that seemed easy suddenly becomes impossible. Sometimes through a person they thought of as ordinary, who turns out to be extraordinary. But the greatest humbling moments are the ones that shift how we see the world and how we see ourselves. For the gym members, the cleaning lady's transformation did more than surprise them. It taught them that assumptions are dangerous. It taught them to look deeper. It taught them that strength, skill, and greatness can exist in places they never thought to look. And for the black belt, it taught him to never underestimate anyone, no matter how harmless they may appear. Humbling moments are not meant to embarrass us, they are meant to awaken us. They teach us gratitude. They teach us respect. They teach us awareness. They teach us balance between pride and humility. When life humbles you, it shows you your limits, not to shame you, but to help you grow beyond them. It reminds you that no amount of success makes you invincible, that no level of achievement exempts you from learning, that no status places you above others. In fact, the higher you stand, the faster life can bring you back down, not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. Life humbles you to shape you, to ground you, to build character that matches your skill. Without humility, skill becomes meaningless. Without humility, success becomes fragile. Without humility, relationships suffer. Humility is the foundation that keeps everything standing. The black belt's fall wasn't physical, it was emotional. It was the collapse of his ego. In that moment, life reminded him that everyone has something valuable within them, something that cannot be measured by appearance or status. He learned that respect should never be given selectively, and that confidence without humility leads to lessons you don't choose but desperately need. Everyone, at some point, will experience a moment like this. A moment that levels your pride, a moment that reveals your blind spots, a moment that reminds you to stay grounded. The question is not whether life will humble you, but whether you will grow from the moment or resist it. The cleaning lady didn't humble the black belt intentionally. Life did through her, and the lesson was simple, powerful, and unforgettable. No matter who you are, how skilled you are, or how respected you become, life can humble you in a single moment. And that moment can change everything. Ladies and gentlemen, what happened in that gym wasn't just a surprising moment, it was a mirror held up to all of us. A reminder that respect is not earned through belts, titles, or status, but through the way we treat people. A reminder that hidden strength walks beside us every day, quietly shaping the world without asking for applause. A reminder that humility protects us, dignity defines us, mastery guides us, and life has the final say in who we truly are. The black belt walked into that moment believing he knew everything he needed to know. He walked out having learned more in 30 seconds than in all his years of training. And the cleaning lady, she didn't rise to prove anything. She didn't fight for applause. She simply showed the truth that had always been there. Greatness does not demand attention, it reveals itself when needed. So as you leave today, carry this lesson with you. Look deeper. Respect everyone, stay humble, and remember that the quietest people in the room often carry the loudest stories, because you never know which ordinary moment or which ordinary person will change everything.